Hello, hello, and welcome back to Monetize with Megan, where today we are talking about whether you should pay off debt or invest in your business first. And I decided to talk about this, one, because I have my very own experience with it, and two, I often get asked this question a lot. And so as I go forward to sharing with you how I have built a seven-figure business, and I started tens of thousands of dollars in debt, both to the IRS and also credit cards. And I've also supported many clients who were in that same space to begin generating in their business. I just want to preface this with, like, this is not financial advice, right? There's no income claims or financial advice being given, but a true, honest talk about something that is real, that people face every single day. The decision of, do I move forward with my dream of being a CEO and a business owner, or do I chip away at debt? And my honest to God belief and opinion is that I am far better off at learning how to generate big money than paying off debt, right? I don't see it as a linear thing. It's not like pay off debt and then invest in my business. And often what I teach within my business consulting, intuitive business consulting, is that we're living linear when really we get to live, geometrically in this quantum grid. We get to live quantum versus linear. And so when people say, well, how did you do it? Like, how were you $40,000 in debt and you owed the IRS and now you have a lucrative seven-figure business living a very luxurious lifestyle? And the way that I did it was I didn't do it linear. And maybe if there was such a thing as doing it right and doing it linear, I did it backwards. I was in a position where if I chose to stay at the pay that I was at in the job that I had at that time, as a single mom, and pay off the tens of thousands of dollars that I had in debt, especially after my divorce from my first husband, 8 years later, I would still be paying that back. I didn't make enough money to actually pay off that debt and in any sort of reasonable time. Instead, that would have become a prison to me. And so again, that sort of between a rock and a hard spot was my blessing, right? I really feel bad for those people who make $10,000 a month or $12,000 a month, and they really have the golden handcuffs. It's the most insidious program there is, making it, right? Just getting by, like a good enough life that thinking about anything, if it doesn't get better, anything worse than that is horrifying. Right? So I think the golden handcuff programming is the most insidious of all because it's the hardest to break out of, and you're conditioned to believe that the most responsible thing as a human is to be debt-free. It's craziness. It's craziness. And so I chose that, well, I know my future. If I choose to pay off all this debt, that's the next 8 years of my life. It would have taken probably at least 8 years, maybe more, because who knows, if anything happened, my car, an illness, I would have gone more into debt, right? So I knew what my future was like if I chose to dedicate my heart and soul to paying off debt. And I chose very consciously that I just shared this with a client last week, that I refused to be a bitch to debt. I refuse to be at the mercy of interest rates. Fuck that. I am here for fucking freedom and sovereignty and joy and play. And so I got really comfortable with the worst case scenario, which is like, well, maybe I would have to file for bankruptcy. Okay. Maybe I'd have to live in an apartment forever. I'd have to live with my mom. Whatever that was, I really started with the energetic work of what was I most afraid of. Some people are afraid of not being a good girl, right? Being a bad girl, not being a good boy. not doing it right. But remember, the way that you think to do it right, you were programmed at a very young age. And I always say this, I'm currently programming my children, right? We just are programming the young ones that are around us, and you've been programmed. So if you hold any sort of belief around debt and who you are as a person, that might be running the show versus your higher self and your sovereignty. And so when I said I refuse to be a bitch to debt, I refuse to be at the mercy of interest rates, I made a very conscious decision to make the absolute bare minimum payments and take all that I would have put toward debt, and I put it into my business. And it was difficult for a little while. It was really scary. I had no proof. I didn't know if that would work, right? But I did know what my other option was, which was spending the next decade chipping away at debt, right? And so I put that into my business, and within a couple of years, I was able to just pay it all off in one fell swoop. I did get to repair my credit, right? Like that took a minute. I got to repair my credit. I got to get caught up with the IRS. I got to pay off credit cards, right? And now my husband is retired. Now my kids go to the best private school in the city. We have passive income. We just went and checked our accounts for some investments. We have literal passive income from investments at this time. I put more into investments every single month. I'm building my team out. There's 8 of us now on Megan Camille Enterprises. And so if I look back, one of the greatest things that I did was not be a bitch to debt, not be afraid of the fact that I pulled out more money when I was already tens of thousands of dollars in debt to learn how to get my business off the ground. I was wholeheartedly committed, and there's something about being a single mom and having children that depend on you that gives you a nice kick in the booty to get it right? Like those that maybe don't have that pressure, and they have the golden handcuffs. Sometimes it's a harder decision, but I didn't have a whole lot to lose, and thank God. Right? Thank God, because maybe I wouldn't have made that decision. But being able to make that decision back then has built my risk aversion muscle to the opposite. I am not that risk adverse. And my life shows that I take good quality risks, because the greatest investment you can ever do is learn how to generate your own money, be your own economy. There's no investment, and I have some pretty good investments right now, and there is no investment that pays me like knowing how to have a business and generate my own money, right? Like my business takes care of me. We're about to go on a vacation, a huge family vacation. I'm bringing my grandparents, my parents are coming next month, and I will still be generating money while we're sitting on the beach. There's just no investment that pays me the way that a lucrative business pays me. I even thinking about coming into like a program or working with me, you invest in that, and then you know how to lead a business at $500K in 3 hours a day. Like there's no investment out there that you're making $500,000 a year, right? But you can generate that in your own business. It is a safe, and like it's the safest thing I ever did for my children, for myself. My kids don't say goodbye to me for 40 hours a week. Heck no. Right? It was the best thing I ever did. It was the safest decision I ever made. It was the safest investment. A few years ago, we had some investments where I lost $40,000, right? Like, is that really safer than my own business? No, it's not. And so my invitation, I'm taking a walk. Can you hear the doggy? My invitation is to really weigh, like, what is it that you value? Do you value holding no debt more than you value your freedom and learning how to generate money? Or do you value your freedom? Oh God, that scared me. Or do you value your freedom? I highly value my time freedom. Like there is no way I would be caught working a job now, right? Like I just require and I value and require time freedom. I value and require being my own boss, not ever being told where I need to be, when I need to be, that I need to show up there instead of for my kids. Never. And so I valued that a lot more than I valued a credit score. I valued that a lot more than I valued how I felt about debt. And if you are going to be an entrepreneur or a business owner for the long haul, and I am, right? This is my purpose. And if this is your purpose, if you are here to experience time freedom, if you're here to be your own economy and do your spiritual and personal evolution through business, you will have to let go of the idea of doing it right and good and linear. Because those of us who have crossed through this veil